Doing another Windows video. This time it's about Windows 7. Seems to be I'm only doing these videos at night, but or late at night, early morning, I guess. But oh well, it's the only time I have time to do these. All right, so I'm going to talk about Windows 7. I've been running Windows 7 for quite a while now. Maybe 6 months, maybe a bit more than 6 months actually. I got my first build was 6519. I think my very first build was. It was the M2 build, the Milestone 2. Very, very good. At the time, it didn't seem much different from Vista. Startup speed was faster. The general operating system itself was faster. It still had the gadgets bar, still had the Vista toolbar, but everything else was the same, basically. Visually, the GUI was still the same, or the graphical user interface was still the same in most cases. Now it's a lot different. It's changed quite a bit. It's got the new toolbar they call the Super Bar. It's got it doesn't have the gadgets aren't attached to one bar now. They are now able to move around on your desktop, which I always thought was a good idea. I didn't quite like the bar just because it took a long time to load. It wasn't the gadgets that took a long time to load. It was just that bar for some reason. Gadgets load quite faster now. There's no bar. So anyways, the pros and cons of it. Let's go into basic installing. Windows 7 to install is a lot faster than Vista even. I didn't think that would be possible since Windows Vista was very fast compared to XP. I find for a normal install it takes me about an average about 15 minutes depending on the system, depending on what I'm installing from. If I'm installing from a DVD, of course, it'll take longer. If I'm installing from some sort of flash media, it may be a flash drive, or sometimes I even use an iPod if that's all I can get my hands on at the time. It runs quite smoothly through the installs. I've only had a few errors. I've had an error installing on Mac, but I tend not to blame Microsoft for problems that happen on my Mac, just because it may be Microsoft's fault, but Apple should have thought of that, how to fix that problem. And I really haven't had any major problems running Windows 7 on my Macintosh laptop. Actually, it's running quite smoothly. I actually find it runs smoother on this Mac laptop than it does run on my HP laptop, which I do use in some cases, just when I need I need a system that has a little bit more power for when I'm on the move and need a laptop. So, anyways, installing works fine. Haven't any problems with Windows 7 in terms of installing. Have had a little problem with system requirements. Something I was very, very disappointed about in Windows 7 was the system requirements for the Arrow. I'm not a big fan of Arrow. I don't really care for the look of Arrow. It looks cool in a lot of respects, but it's not a big feature that I actually care about. I love my dock, kind of thing. Like, it's Arrow's not a big thing for me. I still, on some of my laptops, I still run in Windows Classic, just because I like the speed boost it gives me in XP. So Arrow wasn't a big deal for me, but it does require 128 megabytes of graphics memory, which I thought was kind of a rip-off. I wish they could have found something that would, some way of doing it that would maybe require 32 megabytes, or 64 would be fine, but 128 seems to be quite a bit for me to require. Most of my laptops do meet those requirements, no problem. This laptop here is 256 megabytes graphics card, and it has no problem handling that whatsoever. But there are a few laptops. I do have an old IBM laptop that doesn't quite meet the requirements, as well as a Gateway. And it's just disappointing that they can't run Arrow when the Gateway is 2.16 gigahertz, dual core. I think it's a dual core system. Runs fine on XP and does run fine on. I guess it does have a problem with Arrow and Vista as well, but it runs fine on XP. But just when you try to go over to Vista or say Windows 7, it has that small problem with not having the requirements to be able to run full on Arrow, which is disappointing. Very, very disappointing. Anyways, so system requirements I have a few problems with. I've as other requirements, the processor speed of 1 gigahertz. They say I've run it on an 800 megahertz system as well as a 600 megahertz system. 600 megahertz struggles with it. Doing big tasks like viewing pictures and stuff like that. Like doing basic web pages and stuff, it's fine. So I'd recommend it I would say my minimum system requirements for that system would be 800 megahertz, but they say 1 gigahertz, which is fine. I don't have any systems that are under 1 gigahertz at this point in time that are PCs, so that's fine. The slowest computer I have is an old Dell Optiplex, I think it's called, system, which I actually use as a server because I can slide it under my bed. But other than that, so all requirements, processor requirements are fine. RAM, they say 512 megabytes, which is important. You can't do 256. I've tried 256, does not work. You need 512. 512 seems to work fine. For basic tasks, my minimum system requirement. If I was gonna say, or someone was buying a laptop and they want to run Windows 7, I say 1 gigabyte. You have to 1 gigabyte in your laptop at this point, or in your desktop even. Most people who have a desktop, I would guess they'd have 1 gigabyte just because it's so much easier to upgrade a desktop in a lot of cases. But yes. 1 gigabyte I would say is a minimum system requirement. Other than that, it runs fine. I run on a netbook, I've run it on a standard laptop, I've run it on a desktop replacement laptop, and I've run it on this MacBook. No problems whatsoever. The one thing I don't like about it is just, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like a complete operating system yet. I don't know why that is. I'm guessing just because it's in beta, but I'd hope you get a better feel of it. Like, I'm running Windows, or I'm not running Windows. I'm running Snow Leopard right now, and I find it feels like a better. It feels not like a better operating system, but as more full than Windows does. And I hope Windows 7 really cleans that up. Just there's like small things, like small visual defects that I found just throughout the operating system, which I don't quite like, and I assume that Microsoft will fix them. But other than that, Windows 7 is such a great operating system that I do tend to run it as a main desktop, or as a main operating system. I find no reason to run XP or run Vista on a machine that's running Windows 7. It runs great. I've had a few problems with I've had a few problems with programming compatibility, but in terms of it running on Vista as well, it would have the same problem on Vista. So basically, if it's going to run on Vista, it's going to run on Windows 7, which a lot of applications have already switched over to that, so it's going to be fine as that coming out that way. The only problem you're going to have is maybe drivers. You know, it's fine for people who have bought their laptops in the past, say, 3 years. Drivers are no problem for you. But if you say you bought your laptop is like 4 years old, or your laptop is an older model, or your laptop is of lesser quality, I found that some Acer laptops, I'm not saying they're lesser quality, just saying that some Acer laptops that I found did not have the Vista drivers, even though they are maybe 2 years, no, maybe they came out just before Vista came out, and they don't have the drivers for it, which kind of makes me mad, just because I feel that you make the laptop, you support the laptop at least for, I say support the laptop for 5 years. Just because that's the general life of a laptop, I find, is after 5 years you tend to want to upgrade anyways. So, those are my thoughts on Windows 7. In terms of system requirements, how it runs in general, I still say it feels like a beta. I will still say that probably until it's released, and if I still say it when it's released, something wrong. Because Windows should, I felt the same about Windows Vista. It felt so much like a beta. It felt like you're happy to run it, but you felt like you're giving up a lot to run it, which I feel like you shouldn't have to feel that way. Windows Vista, when I was running it, it just felt so much like it was just not doing what I wanted it to, and I just didn't like that. So anyways, those are my thoughts on Windows 7. Let me know if you've had any experience with Windows 7, if you like it, if you dislike it, or if you're thinking about switching to it from any other operating system. Let me know. I've always got questions like that, and I always like to hear about that kind of stuff. So let me know. You can email me at thezrtech@gmail.com if you want to have any questions for me, or have anything that you want to tell me about technology I discuss. And please put comments in the comment section below, and subscribe if you feel the need, or if you want to see my future videos. I'm making a lot more, and I tend to upload quite a few a day if I get the chance. So keep an eye out for those. Thank you very much.